The curse has been broken. I have finally won my very first English Digimon TCG event, and I cannot wait to tell you all about it. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Steven Rodriguez. I'm your true champion, and as I just told you, this past weekend, won the LCS Series 1 for the Digimon TCG. If you don't know, LCS stands for Luxury Championship Series, and it's held on by Luxury Gaming, and they're finally doing Digimon events, and this has been their biggest Digimon event up till now. Huge shout out to everyone over there, by the way, for putting it on. It was such a fun event this past weekend, and it was an honor to be a part of it, and really awesome to actually take it down. Now, as I'm sure you guys are aware, I love making videos about tournaments that I partake in for the Digimon TCG because I think it's a really good way for you guys to reflect not only on what decks are winning, but overall how I think about the game in a very competitive environment. However, this time I actually used a deck that I already have tons of videos out about called Blue Omnimon. So, if you want to check out my list that I used for this event, boom, there it is. That is the exact deck list that I used to win this event. It is very similar to the deck that I used to get third place at the $2,200 PPG webcam event a few weeks ago. If you want to watch that video to hear my particular thoughts on how the deck works and what I think about the deck, I'll leave a link in the archives above. Definitely check it out. Now, what I want to get to in today's video, though, is going to be a little bit different. I put a poll out a few days ago asking you guys what you prefer when you watch TCG content videos like these. And you said you guys really want to see some deep gameplay breakdowns or commentaries for matches that I do. So that's what we're going to do. I've handpicked 3 different matches from this past weekend that I'm going to show you to you guys, do some overlaying commentary for, and hopefully talk about how I use this deck and sort of what was going through my mind when I was making the decisions that I was making. So hopefully you can get an idea of what the competitive mind of a Digimon player needs to be so they can actually take down a tournament and get first place. If you guys are excited for the continuation of some awesome Digimon TCG content, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so you know when my videos go live for you. And if you ever want to see me playing this game live and in person in events just like this, I stream them all the time over on my Twitch channel, link down below as always. But without further ado, what do you say we check out some of the games that I played from this past weekend? Alright, boys and girls, here we are for the first game that I have lined up for you. It is my 4th round from the Day 1 Swiss events, and I'm playing against Purple. Now, this is going to be the first game that we have in the overall match, and then we're going to jump to a different game after this. But if you guys do want to see the entirety of all of my matches from this past weekend, I'll go ahead and leave a link down below to the full Twitch VOD. Check it out if you want to. With that being said, let's get into it. Alright, so it looks like my opponent is actually going first. Fun fact, my opponent's actually Joe Doby, a fellow Digimon content creator. I'll leave a link down below to his stuff as well in case you want to check out some other content creators, not just this ugly old face. And there we see him doing, first of all, we already know he's playing Purple, and we see him having a pretty standard start of the double rookie start, doing the cheapest amount possible, by the way, playing the Devimon. This is a really good way to get just a nice board advantage that you can use later on for Chimeramons, or just get some early aggression in, because why not? Again, I am playing Blue Omnimon, by the way, in case you guys are forgetting. I'm going to go ahead and hatch an Upamon going second. That's not always the best thing in the world. And following it up with a Zudomon. Now, you might think, oh no, Steven Brick didn't draw a rookie. But fun fact for you, I actually did this Zudomon play quite a lot throughout the entire event. It is a little sad that I didn't have a rookie to accompany it at the exact same time. But overall, I'm still pretty happy with this start. I find it very aggressive. And against Purple, I feel a lot safer being aggressive because there's really only 2 different cards that can punish a lone Pleziomon once it swings, and those are the 2 copies of Millenniumon that my opponent must play in their deck. So I actually do really love this play, and if you guys watch any other videos that I do on Blue Omni, you will know by how much I just love playing Zudomon because literally he has just advantaged the card. But let's keep watching. So yeah, now we see Joe with 5 memory, he's bringing up the Gabumon, and he's like, okay, what do I do? And this is why I really like it, because even if he goes for a Chimeramon, he's basically wasting his turn, only really 1-for-1ing, and just passing me 2 back. I believe I did draw the rookie off that Zudo. He swings with Devi, it now dies. That's 1 less card he has to actually use to sacrifice for other effects. Feels really good. The damage isn't fun, but whatever. And there we see him hard playing a Garurumon of his own. He's playing a Metal Garurumon deck, by the way, for Purple, which is pretty cool. Luckily, he didn't have too much to capitalize on the memory that I gave him, and now I can just start going off. I wish I had like a Hammer Spark here or a Plezio here. I definitely would have evolved and attacked with it, but let's see if I might overextend. No, I just go straight in for the Monze because I do want to play around the potential of just, I don't know, a weird old Trump Sword, or just obviously not having the Plezio in hand. I definitely would have gone for it if I did have it. But overall, just making sure I have isolated Digimon against any potential removal he might have is really good. Speaking of Plezio, there's the big fish coming in and smacking that Garurumon. And here we see Dro just putting on the pressure, essentially. He's realized, okay, I'm in the back foot. All I can really do is swing. And here we see me do an interesting move where I swing with the Manze. There's several reasons for this. First of all, I need the draw. I may have drawn 2 cards with Zudo, but I'm still thirsty for anything that's not specifically Ultimates or Hammer Sparks. I'm pretty sure is my entire hand up until I get this draw. And I know I have a big risk here of this Vilemon being rested to trade both things, but honestly, I'm okay with that. That's one less body that Joe has to actually swing in with me, and I still have the Zudomon here, and if this draw does give me, I don't know, the Plezio or whatever I want to dig for, then it doesn't actually matter because I still have the extra attack plus the extra ability to create more advantage, and the fact that he didn't block and the Manze actually did live is just gravy. However, had I been Joe, I definitely would have blocked. I think Joe just wanted to conserve the Vilemon more than anything else, which again I understand, but it's too good of a trade to pass up in most situations. And there you see me going for the Hammer Spark into the Plezio. I swing, I get the memory back with Zudo. It's like I did nothing but got a free Mega in play. Like I said, I feel very safe doing this. He gets the Night Raid. This is actually scary because now, thanks to this free Night Raid, Joe is now threatening lethal against me, given that I have 3 security. So now I'm forced to play a blocker somehow this turn, otherwise I just lose. Fun fact. And I think I either go for that or I go for something else. Let's find out. Yep, I go for the Hammer Spark. I'm probably just going to play a 2-drop and then play the blocker. Yep, makes the most sense. Like, literally, my hand was just Champions, Ultimates, and Hammer Sparks up until I finally drew that Plezio. So that's why I was just digging so hard for it. And then I finally got it, which is super nice. I literally got it off the Manzemon swing, so I was like, who cares? And there we see him going for the Devimon. Good thing I did get the blocker, because now I can protect my Pleziomon, which is super big, very, very big against this matchup to always keep your Megas alive, even if they do go for the big Vengeance or Retaliation attackers. It's very nice. And now Joe is just deciding his discard. I felt like, honestly, Joe could have just gone for the aggro. Had he attacked my security with that Devimon, I probably would have let it go through, and who knows, it might have lived, which would have been crazy, actually, if it did, because I can't just swing into it. I had to waste a removal card on it, essentially. And there's a 6, so it would not have lived, but imagine if it would have. That would have been so much value, aggressively speaking. And there we see him milling quite a lot of good cards that he would have liked to have seen, but nothing too crazy. He's currently at 0 memory, and I'm betting that the only real out he thinks he has is like late game Piedmon to get enough attacks to swing in for game. But if I can do a good job of like board controlling, gaining advantage, etc., I can kind of avoid that kind of thing. So here he gave me 3 memory. I'm going to swing, go to 4 with the Zudo. Ooh, do I have the Metal Garurumon here? That'd be pretty sick to see. I wish you guys could see my face. My face is obviously over my face from stream, but I look so serious all the time whenever I play. And ooh, the 12 into 11, you gotta love 12k beaters. That's why they're some of the best attackers in the game. Now again, Joe is threatening lethal, so I do need to either get rid of something or play a blocker from my hand. So maybe I feel like it's too big of a risk to go for a Metal Garurumon and swing with the Manze. Even though that would be a lot of aggressive advantage, it wouldn't be actually keeping me from dying because Joe could just not block and have enough attacks to kill me. So I just go, I think Onimon's the best call, but giving him 2 could open up a Piedmon, so I'm like deciding what the best move is. I think ultimately I just decide, all right, I go for the Metal Garu and I swing with it because unless this card is specifically Darkness Claw, I don't get punished by attacking because all my dudes are rested except for the Gorillamon that just came out. And as long as I have a blocker or I have an Omnimon in my hand, I don't die. So instead of like trying to dodge the Piedmon, I'm going to make the Piedmon useless because even if Joe gets back double blocker, he only has 1 security left and I have 4 attacks. So I still have plenty of ways to threaten lethal despite him getting 2 blockers. So I figured this was the best way that I kind of had to isolate myself against Piedmon, but also still go in for game. I felt like if I just played Omnimon, it gave him the opportunity to actually beat me over time versus actually just give me the game on the next turn no matter what he does. There you see him discard the Trump Sword off the Gabumon proc from killing the Vilemon. He catches the Yammon, evolves into the Devimon, draws a card. The only option I see him having here is going for Piedmon, but like I just said, that's not going to be enough to win unless he has a 3rd dude in hand. And actually, we see him going for the Devimon, so he's going to go for the control route to try and get rid of my Omni. That's fine though, I still threaten lethal with all my cards. Even if he somehow gets rid of like an Omni and then goes for a Trump Sword on my Gorilla or something, I still have 2 attacks to win the game against his 1 security. He can't play a blocker, and then I suppose playing a blocker and then going for a Trump Sword would be good enough, but it might give me enough memory to actually kill the blocker or do something else. But I do think, Yeah, because what I'd be forced to attack with a Metal Garurumon, but I do it after he blocks my attacks, so that way I can clear his board. Yeah. But there we see him going with the Devimon. Oh, okay, that was this game. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, he's literally just gonna clear my board here, and then I think hard play the blocker. Not necessarily the route I would have gone for. Obviously, if he didn't have Trump Sword, this still gives up the least amount of memory. And plus he gets rid of the Metal Garurumon this way and still has the blocker. So I'm not currently winning the game, but I'm also not currently losing the game either. And I think I just go for, yeah, I think there's no reason not just go for like a Plezio here or something. I might even pass afterwards too. So yeah, I go for the Plezio. I do just swing with it. It threatens, it doesn't threaten lethal, but it does just get that last point of damage in. And again, it's another Metal Garurumon. That feels pretty good. I'm obviously not going to attack with the Gomon. That would be a little ridiculous. I'm probably just going to evolve into a Gorilla, or even hard play, and Lekmon wouldn't be too terrible. I do kind of want to play around Heat Viper a bit because that can be annoying to deal with sometimes. I'm having Joe fan through his trash pile right here because I want to know how many Devimon he has left in his deck, because I do have a blocker in my hand and I want to know, do I go for this blocker or do I go for a different card? And I do go for the Garurumon. The reasoning for this, I think, is because I want to potentially use this to make a very powerful Metal Garurumon the next turn, so that way if he goes for like some kind of Piedmon into double Biomon, I have 1, 2, 3 attacks to clear his board and then go for the Omnimon to get rid of the Piedmon, so that way he can't threaten lethal, right? I think was my mentality. Because now I have Joe on no security, I just need to get an attack to land, and he needs to figure out how not to die. That's his goal. And Purple's actually really good at just like living on no security. I've probably been on no security a bunch with Purple, but thanks to cards like Piedmon and just blockers and all the removal cards, you can clear boards and have more than enough ways to actually survive, which is pretty crazy. I thought about playing the 2-drop Vanilla, I'm pretty sure here, but I was too afraid of this particular card, Heat Viper, just getting rid of both and letting him keep his blocker, so I didn't end up going for it. It did matter, obviously, but now he has no board. I still have the Plezio, I get to a hatch, I get to evolve. Keep that rookie is a really good thing too, to evolve into this, and then I just go for the swing, get rid of the last Vilemon, then I like play like 2 things or something. No, I think I just evolve in the raising area here, because unless he goes for specifically Piedmon, I don't care, and if he goes for Piedmon, I want to have an ultimate ready to go, so that way I can turn it into an Omnimon with all the memory that he gives me to just win the game. Yep. Oh no, I just choke him. Yeah, I give him 1, so we can't even Piedmon. Yeah, so it's pretty much guaranteed game here. Yep. See, look, there's so many things that I don't remember about this match, and oh, we see a cool thing here. So yeah, that's the end of the match. Joe just conceded because he knew he couldn't survive, only having 1 memory, no way to get 2 blockers out. He loses, etc. But we see Joe actually playing Gaia Force. He's actually playing a mixture of red and purple. He's playing the red starter tie that increases DP by 1,000 because he wants to have a 12k attacking Metal Garurumon that can bring back level 3s from the trash pile, plus he gets to use Gaia Force, which is super cool. So playing both Gaia Force and Trump Sword is actually really, really sick. I saw him kind of savage some people with that during the event. It was pretty cool, but that is it for the first game that I have you. The overall notes that I have pretty much when it comes to playing against Purple is don't be afraid to be aggressive. I promise you they'll be aggressive against you, and you can actually kind of get, I don't want to say steamrolled, but you can kind of get parodied out of the game eventually, because over time they're just going to do a lot of damage to you, and then late game play like a Piedmon or 2, go for like some big Beelzemon, Millenniumon combo that just stops you in your tracks, and they just get free damage every single turn because you can't deal with the Millenniumon properly, etc., etc., and that can just turn into you losing the match. So definitely making sure when you have an opportunity to deal pressure to them, you use it. I did a risky play there going for the Monzemon, but it ended up being the play I had to make in order to dig for the cards that I needed to actually play the rest of the game. That Plezio literally won me the game by getting it and evolving it on the Zudomon, so literally no regrets for sure. Don't be afraid to make risky plays if you think you have to, because sometimes you do. Alright, boys and girls, here we are for the second game I have for you. It's going to be a blue Omni Mirror match, like I just said. The opponent on top of me, his name is Owen, super nice guy. He's an Australian bloke, and we had a super fun time playing this match. The reason why I want to show off this game is I'm not going to say how it ends. However, I do think I make a very crucial misplay in this game that I want to point out to you guys, so that way when you know to be playing the blue Omni Mirror match, you don't make it for yourselves in the future. Hopefully, I can remember when that actually happens and accurately tell you. But here we go. I believe I do go first, which always is really nice, that you get the first evolution, which feels really good. This is one of the few decks or matchups where it really does matter kind of who goes first and who goes second. Not like to a gigantic degree where like whoever goes first always wins, but more so you can just lay the foundation for, I have the first champion, I can get the first mega, I can get the second raising area, all that fun stuff. So there we see me going for the Grizzlymon, giving away 2. He goes for the Gorilla, and then probably going to follow it up with a Monze to try and choke me at 1. Very good memory choking in the early game, just trying to limit how much either person can do. He doesn't evolve the choke, he plays the Electmon to choke, both of which is fine. It only really gets punished if he gives me 2 memory and I can evolve twice, but I can't because I don't have a Hammer Spark, so I just go for the Monzemon, give him 1, and I pass the turn. Very easy for him to just go, okay, now I have Monzemon, evolve Gorilla into Monze, pass the turn back, or go for the second champion. He's still advancing the same amount of cards and drawing as many cards, and it's not like I'm just gonna instantly start attacking once I get like Hammer Spark plus Plezio. That can be a bit of an aggressive move, especially if you get punished by cards like Hammer Spark or even other Plezios / Omnimons in the security. And here we see him going for the Electmon swing. This is probably because he just doesn't have anything else in his hand to really use his Electmon for, so getting the damage now means he won't have to do it later, etc, etc. Sometimes Blue Omni Mirrors can have like 3 different blockers going in play at like the end of the game, and it can take a very long time to actually kill someone, so getting the damage now does feel like a pretty safe bet here, because at worst he'll check a Hammer Spark, which passes it back to me, but only giving me 1, so unless I have a Hammer Spark plus Plezio, I can't really capitalize. There we see him has the Gorilla, he's debating, he goes straight for the Monze. So again, I think he's fearing just Hammer Spark plus Plezio, but you know, sometimes you gotta put him on better habit, and even if I do have it, I'm giving away 6 memory, he could have Hammer Sparks in his hand, and I can get instantly punished. Here I think I lacked a champion. I would have loved to evolve to that Gabumon into a champion, or that Monze into a Plezio. Both plays would have been really good, but sometimes you just don't have everything. So just trying to set up as big of a board as possible, as scary a board as possible, etc. Here, if we see Owen going for his own Plezio, that could be pretty scary because it does kind of force me to check it if possible, but nope, we're both just kind of whipping stuff. We're both just trying to figure out, okay, who can establish the threatening board first, because that's usually when you can force out Omnis, and here you see me doing what he did a few turns ago, just swinging it with Electmon because I have literally nothing else to do with it, so I may as well get the damage in now. And let's see what he checks here. It's gonna be a Monze of his own, so literally we're doing a perfect mirror right now. His Electmon died to my Monze, my Electmon dies to his Monze. I finally have the Plezio, I give him the 1, and I pass it back. This is a really good position because even if he goes for the Omnimon, chances are he's giving us at least 5 memory, so I have the Gabumon on the rear there. I can go Gorilla into Monze into Plezio into Omnimon and instantly check his. Usually the saying is whoever Omnis first loses in the mirror match. I don't contrive to that mentality. I do think it's a bit more nuanced than that, but you can be giving away a lot of resources to your opponent when you do go for that very first Omni, so it's kind of smart to wait until you're in a position of outright advantage before you do go for it. That's why you see a lot of people actually attacking with like Metal Garurumon and stuff just to get that board advantage, so that way they can isolate themselves properly. And here you see me going for the Hammer Spark, probably to get ready for an Omnimon play to limit how much memory he has, but I also might be doing it to try and play around Hammer Spark. Now this is a misplay that I do think was a mistake. I am a big like fan of holding on to Hammer Sparks, especially in the blue mirror match, because they're really good ways to respond to your opponent's removal, and usually when the only response of removal your opponent has is a big level 6 or a big like level 7 like Omnimon, you can essentially waste all those resources your opponent did because they're giving you 5. You can turn that 5 into 7 and then do whatever you want during your turn, as long as you have like a level 3 or level 4 in play after they Omnimon you. So that's why I'm a big fan of hanging on to Hammer Sparks. Here I'm doing it because I think I'm gonna go for an attack and I want to play around Hammer Spark. That is literally at this point in the game, who cares if that last card is a Hammer Spark, because it'll just become his turn. He'll have 1 memory and it'll give me 5 at least if he goes for the Omni, unless he wastes Hammer Spark, which if I saved mine I wouldn't care about. So this is definitely a misplay, not the one I wanted to point out, but definitely one you should keep in mind when you're playing the mirror match. Conserve your Hammer Sparks. They're the best card you have, and they're really good at just kind of winning you the game or catching you back up if you need to. And I think I'm just kind of wasting it here. And now you see me going, do I really want to attack with this Pleziomon? And I'm gonna do it because I activated the Hammer Spark, so I've committed already without actually thinking. And no punish, it's a volcanic, thank goodness. But had it been punished by like literally anything, I would have been so much trouble. Definitely not the smartest attack right there, but it is nice that it went through. Again, any damage is good at this point in the game. Now you see me debating, yeah, so here's the mistake. Like, I'm not going for the Omnimon here because I know, oh, he's gonna get 5 memory with a champion in play while I go for Omnimon. He's gonna kill me. So this is like literally the dumbest thing I could have done, was playing this Hammer Spark. I didn't even remember this misplay. So yeah, this is definitely a big one because it led me to make all these plays. Now, obviously, I'm playing the Monzemon, so if he goes for his I'm gonna feel safe. If he just like crashes Plesio's, I'm like, sure, that's fine. Who cares? I have an ultimate. You only have a champion, stuff like that. It's nice to make sure that you keep like evolution advantage, I guess is a word you can call it in this matchup. And this is like the establishing of threats, right? Like he's got a Plesio, I've got a Plesio, he's got a rookie, he's got a champion, I have a rookie, and I have an ultimate. So right now I'm good. And usually when you're good, you shouldn't risk anything. So me attacking there was pretty pointless, and it's not something I recommend. So let's see what he goes for here. I think the best play he could do is like build up that Goemon by like going Gorilla into Monze. He goes for the Hammer Spark here. I think he's gonna go for his Omni to try and choke me, giving me 3 memory for it's pretty big. But I already had the ultimate established, and there you see him going for the Omni, giving me the 3 while I have the Monzemon down here. But again, he's got the champion, so even if I go like Plesio into Omni without swinging, he's gonna get 6 memory while having a champion in play, and he might have the hand in his, he might have the cards in his hand to be like, I can respond to 1 Omni, so I'll get rid of his the second he goes for it. And here you see me attacking again with Plesio. This one I really don't understand, is a gigantic risk. I think I'm trying to bait the block maybe, like, are you sure you want to take this much damage? But the better play if you want to bait the block is to swing with the Gabumon. But, you know, either way, bad move. But if I'm trying to bait the block here, you swing with the Gabumon first, because that's like, if he doesn't block that, well, he should, because it's free, and then I swing at his dude, and then I kill the Omnimon, right? But then he still has the Goma, and so it can still get awkward. And again, I definitely just think this is a scary move here. And there we see the Monze, again, lucking out on these security checks. Very, very lucky. And then we go for the 5, give him the 6 after his Goemon underneath the procs, but he's got the champion right there, and so I'm just like, if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't, right? But again, he will have to expunge some resources. He has to evolve for at least 2, and then at least 2 more, and then give me at least 4. I have 5 thanks to Goma. If I have like a Hammer Spark or 2, which I could have had in my hand saved from earlier, by the way, again, just harken back to that misplay would have been nice. And there you see him going for the Gorilla. I gave him so much memory, he doesn't even need to waste on the Grizzlymon to actually evolve. It's actually hilarious, because now he gets to keep a blocker, which will come up later, I promise. Keeping blockers like late game in this matchup is actually super huge. And there we see him going for the Loader. He's at 2. Does he have the Plesio? If he does, God tier, which you don't make that play unless you have it, or if you have like the Hammer Spark plus Metal Garurumon. Yeah, right now he's just thinking. He's like, what's the best way to do this? Am I right? Okay, he goes for the Plesio, goes to the 0, he draws. Do you swing here? I think if you get the, if you get the Omnimon to stick, you can stop swinging. You'll get enough attacks in eventually, most of the time, unless that first security is literally specifically Omnimon, which you've already seen, I think. 2 from me. No, only 1 from me, I think, but 2 from him, if he has it in hand. Which we should assume he does have at this point. Always assume they have it whenever you make plays. There's no point in playing around stuff before they actually are known, right? Or unless you have to. He swings the Plesio here just to catch back up. I felt like that was not incorrect given how offensive I've been, but again, it could have been a risk, one that I don't think he had to make. He goes for the Omni, he gives me 7 because I have a Goma and I have 7 memory plus a Gabu. He has an Omni, I get the Raising as well, so this is super huge, especially if I can end my turn with like Omni plus Champion and Raising. I'm feeling really, really safe in my ability to come back because I'm playing full Omni Turbo, so I have 4 Omnimon, 4 Plesio, 4, like I got 4 of everything. I can get to everything if I have it in my deck and I can draw the cards. There we see me going for the Loader. I don't think I should swing here, but I might. Again, just maybe to bait the block, because he's like, I don't want to go all the way down to 1, because if he goes all the way down to 1, I could in theory just like play 2 more rookies and have game on board, right? So, you know, he's a little scared, and oh, you see me going for the Metal Garu, so I don't have the Hammer Spark, and that is a big misplay, folks. The Hammer Spark I showed you guys earlier, that is such a huge misplay. Had I never used it in the first place, I could have used it at any point during these future turns here, or saved it for this particular turn, and been God tier and great for actually evolving into this Metal Garurumon. Maybe even attacking with it. That would have been spicy, huh? Attacking with it, getting the Grizzmon out, and then evolving into the Omnimon. That's when you attack, is when you're like, I'm gonna get as much advantage as possible. But nope, having to pass with 1, not even keep his Omni, get 2 free swings. force me to one potentially, all very, very not good. Gets a potential another rookie on the Upamon. This is where the matchup can kind of flip back in the other direction. It looked like I was in the advantage for a long time, but the second you whiff the response of the Omnimon, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's over, but it's definitely very hard for you to catch back up. There you see him go for the Hammer Spark. He's doing that to isolate himself from Hammer Spark, kind of like what I did earlier, but he's doing it when it's, oh, I'm almost going to kill him. Now's a good time to make sure that risk does not happen. Very, very heads up, very smart. I did it way too early when it didn't matter if it happened. And speaking of which, there you go. He perfectly protected himself against my Hammer Spark and Security, gets the 2 free damage, and now I'm just being walked all over by this Omnimon. He can just play a rookie from his hand and pass, and he's threatening lethal. He has no need to do anything else. Obviously, I can just go swing Metal Guru, bring out Grizz, evolve Omni, kill. I shouldn't die, but it's definitely a risk if I go for that kind of play, but it's definitely the play I should go for if he does just play a rookie hand. But I forget what he does here. He might just evolve on that Gabu and pass. Let's find out. Yep, he does evolve, gives me the 1, and then passes. I play Hammer Spark to go to 2 to play around his Hammer Spark. And there we see him revealing the Metal Garurumon, killing my Metal Garurumon, and that's pretty much it, because now I can't kill his Omni. I even had the second Grizz. Like, literally, if that Metal Garurumon would have lit up, would have won. And fun fact, if I didn't attack so carelessly with all those Plesiomon's in the back, my Metal Garurumon never would have died. It was a Volcanic, and it was a, whatchamacallit, a 6K Monze or something. That's like the big mistake I want to give you guys, is if you have the advantage, you're currently like the person with the most dudes in play, you're currently with the highest evolution chain or whatever, don't attack. You're risking things for no reason. I would have been able to have 4 units in play this turn. Sorry, no. I would have been able to have a Grizz, and an Omnimon in play, while all he would have had was a Grizz and a Gorilla while I'm at 1 security. I would have felt super safe. I would have been looking really good, even if he had 2 security right now instead of 1. I would have felt really good for winning the game eventually, because I would have had the board presence. He would have had to have responded to me versus me responding to him. So it's definitely like smart to make sure if you are ahead, the best way to stay ahead is to not attack and just wait until you have so much advantage that it won't matter what they check in their security. You can definitely isolate yourselves a lot better. I'm not saying that I lost to security here. I'm saying that I lost to my carelessness in maintaining my resources throughout the entire game. And that's so important in a mirror match like this. And here we see me just like assessing my board, like, what can I do? Like, all the things I block get swung. There's an argument to block here, by the way, because if you block here, you lose the blocker, but if he wants to get that last security worth of damage, he'll lose one of his attackers, which is a thing I didn't think about until after I said no, because I'm like, if I just keep 2 blockers, I can check one of his attackers anyway. But that would have probably been the smarter move. It would have probably like deterred him from not attacking, which would have been nice, because maybe I can like do some shenanigans with like Metal Siegramon, which I do play in my deck, which would have been super valuable probably at this exact stage of the game had he not attacked with one of these cards. But you know, hindsight 2020 for that kind of stuff. I don't think it truly matters which one you block there, but it could have been cool. Like, either way, like, if he swings, you don't block the second time. I suppose in theory, like, if you block the first one, then block the second one, he definitely does not attack with the Grizzlymon, right? And then he loses that. That'd be like actually bad. Also, I want to like try to not block as much as possible. And he goes for the Cocytus Breath of all cards just to get rid of my blocker, which was kind of interesting to see. And I think here what I go for is I like evolve. I think I evolve into Grizzlymon here. And then I like go for Metal Siegramon, which I believe is in my hand at this point, which actually would be super sick, right? I'm giving him 8 memory, getting rid of his Grizzly, and all he has is an Omni, and then I'm threatening lethal, but I'm putting the Grizz back in his hand. He just needs to play it, and I can't kill him. So it's very sad at the same time. I wish I would have had like an extra turn to use that Metal Garurumon, which I would have had if I didn't, if I wasn't so careless with all my swings up until now. Again, biggest misplays is being too aggressive when you don't need to be in this matchup. And then, of course, being aggressive with your Hammer Sparks. Always smart to save those for moments when you absolutely need them. There's actually a game that I had in my top 8 match where I played triple Hammer Spark in 1 turn and won on a free Omnimon double swing. And there you see me go for the Goemon and the Metal Seadra. This is to play around him having 1 blocker in hand. but like basically I'm forcing him to have 2 blockers. And there you saw me ask him how many blockers were in his trash. The answer was 0. So I'm like, pretty good odds he has 2, but put him on Better Habit and put him on make sure he knows to play both before doing anything else. Because had he just played 1, it still would have been enough unless he doesn't get rid of my Metal Siegramon. And if he's not smart enough or not keen on Metal Siegramon, which I think everyone knows at this point, it's not a secret, but if he goes for like 2 hard plays, he can't block metal with one of them, so I just like swing in, which would have been pretty cute, but no, he always blocks the rookies anyway. I would have to evolve one of them to maybe bait him to not blocking it. But there you see him going for 1 source, and I don't have any Gabumons that have the ability to get rid of that on board, so at this point he's a guaranteed game as long as he doesn't block with anything else that that doesn't have a source. And I think I lose here if he just shows me double blocker, right? Yep, and there it is. And I think on the next turn I just scoop it up. I swing, he takes it, and then I just scoop it up. So that was the game that I want to show you. I actually did lose that game. I ended up losing the entire round actually, and then ended up the day X2 becoming 8th seed for top 8. But like you guys know by watching this video, I actually ended up winning the event and getting my salty run back. But I really wanted to show off this game because this was one of the games where I felt like I was just not approaching the mirror match properly. I played it poorly. I was playing it aggressive. Sure, I whiffed a couple of cards here and there, but I definitely could have handled the hands I had better given the way the game had gone for me personally. Had I never attacked, had I saved those Hammer Sparks for the right moment to respond to his first couple of Omnimons, I could have actually gotten free value the turn I evolved into Metal Garurumon. It still would have lived, and I would have been able to top it off with an Omnimon to then gain board and get rid of my opponent's board, which is a by far bigger amount of plus than me just getting some extra damage in the first 2 turns. Normally I do like playing this deck aggressive against other decks, but against the mirror match in particular, being aggressive can actually hurt you way more than help you. Alright boys and girls, here we are for the final match of the day. Again, if you want to watch any more of these games or any of the other matches that I played, link will be down below to the full Twitch VODs, definitely check them out. Now, this game, though, is against Red Gallantmon, and it's the top 8 match. Fun fact, I actually played this opponent in, I think, round 3 of the day 1 Swiss event, and I got 0-2'd. And I vowed, when that happened, I'm going to see you in top 8, and I'm going to beat you. And as we know, because we're in the future, I did. But this game in particular, I really do want to show you for 2 reasons. One, it is proof that when I'm in top cut scenarios, I draw like a goddamn demon. And the second is how to handle really powerful removal-based decks like Red Gallantmon. Alrighty, so there we see the Galmon player on top. He has the vertical cam going on. Gonna be a little hard for you guys maybe to enjoy watching what he's doing. I'll do my best to articulate what's happening as we're going. I believe I am going first. Oh, I kind of skipped ahead there. And there you see me, yes, hatching the Upamon, evolving into the Gabumon and drawing for turn. And here we see me going for a patented play that I love doing, is the hard play of Zudo. I'm doing this for 2 reasons. Number 1, I have no champions in hand. Number 2, normally I would do this play against a deck that I know is red because it's actually a super cool play, because if they want to get rid of this Zudomon, they have to play Gaia Force. So the best they can do during their turn is maybe evolve into like a champion or something and then play Gaia Force. If they want to give me like 4 or 5 memories, sure. But all they're doing is getting rid of an ultimate that I hard played and drew me 2. So not only is a Zudomon drawing me 2 cards, it's also eating a Gaia Force. That's super awesome, if you ask me. There we go, passing it back. There we see him hatching the Yokomon. He drew after hatching, which is fine. I make that mistake all the time too. There we see him evolving into the Agumon promo. This is how you know it's Gallantmon. Fun fact, he told me afterwards, dude, this is literally like your Gallantmon deck. I changed like 1 or 2 cards. I'm like, that's awesome, bro. Glad you enjoy the list. I love Gallantmon too. Favorite red deck for sure. Never touching Red Omni. Always playing Red Gallant. There we see him just spreading out his security so I could see it a bit better. I was a little unsure how much was in there given it was all stacked up. There we see him going for the Greymon, a card that I've been testing a lot in Gallantmon. It's the plus 2000 DP one for Inheritable. So good. So good. If you want your Metal Greymons, Metal Tyrannomons, or Gallantmons to live when they swing, play this card in your deck. It's actually dirty. There, speaking of Metal Greymon, there we see him going for the Memory Borrower, my favorite ultimate in that deck, the best one to utilize. He's currently at 2 memory. If he has like the Red Tamer tie, which There it is. Super amazing turn 1 play. His board is so scary. This is like the bad thing, right? It's like, oh sure, I get a cool Zudomon that can become a Plesio or an Omni later on, but he gets to have all this memory for free to do all this stuff. And there we see me going for Plesio. Now, again, I know how I just talked about like not attacking with like Plesios and stuff and risking. Here's a moment where I'm like, you could attack. I know for a fact there's only 3 Digimon in his deck that can kill my Plesio. There's also 4 Gaia Force, and I'm like, do I need to take the risk? I don't think I'm in a position yet where I need to actually worry about attacking. And this is the second day of the event, so I'm coming off of that kind of like terrible loss from the last round of day 2, fighting against Owen in day 1, and so I know no need to be too aggressive here. I've learned my lesson, essentially, going into this top 8. There we see him going for the Metal Greymon. Now I did give him 3 memory. Obviously, he was going to get 3 memory anyway, but now he can get 3 more by attacking with this. It's currently 11,000 DP, by the way, so it's pretty strong. Only my Metal Garurumon's, Plesios, and Omnimons can actually kill it, which is hilarious. And I think he's debating playing the starter tie here to make it 12,000 DP to kind of really isolate it from dying. It's a really good inclusion in the deck, by the way, is starter tie, just to, again, keep your ultimates alive. Red Gallantmon is essentially a level 5 rush deck. Honestly, like, your goal is to keep these dudes alive and attacking every single turn for as long as possible. And that's why cards like the Greymon from Booster Set, Agumon promo are so good. And yes, we do see him going for that red Tamer tie, going to 1, but then going right back up to 4, swinging for 12. Only one card, or two different kinds of cards can actually kill this. He goes to 4 and he checks a loader. It was safe on all accounts. He's now at 4. He can now evolve into Gallantmon and then play a Gaia Force if he wants to, or play who knows what. But luckily for me, I do have 2 rookies there, so even if he gives me like 10 memory, I can actually do a lot with it. There we see him going for the Gallantmon. He goes to 0, draws his card, kills one of my 6k DP less dudes. He targets Gabumon, I believe. I think he's just clarifying that he does target Gabumon. He does. Sick. Do you have the Gaia Force or do you have the Omnimon? And there is the Gaia Force. He's giving away 10 and killing the Plesio, obviously. But again, I got the Goma. If I just have a champion, we're good to go. But as I said earlier, I did not have champions in my opening hand. Did my Zudomon draw me any? And the answer is no, I have to play another one from my hand. But again, a card like Zudomon's really good whenever your opponent removes one of your cards, because you can just go, okay, I have like 7 or 10 memory, drop this, draw 2 more, evolve into the Mega, and if you have enough memory, which you see here he did give me, I can go straight into Omni, which I wonder what I'm gonna do. I have no champions, but I do have Ultimates and Megas. Hopefully I have also an Omnimon, and I do. I give him 5, and I kill his Gallantmon, and I just pass it on back to him. You're gonna see me on the next turn do something very familiar. That's all I'm gonna say. Something very familiar will happen. Speaking of familiar, you see him go for the Mono, into the Dark Tyranno, into, I think, the Metal Gray. Yep, he goes to, I think, 1 here. Yep. And then he, I believe, plays, guess what? A Gaia Force. Very standard. So look at that. Double Gaia Force back-to-back, killing an Omnimon and a Plesio. I bring up, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play the 3rd Zudomon that's in my deck. Literally, my opening hand was like Plesio, like Vulcan's rookie, and then like 2 Zudos. And then every time I played Zudo, all I drew were Ultimates and Megas, and like Ultimate plus Omni. Like, it was hilarious. I just kept seeing these stupid big shellfish dudes. It was so funny, and it ended up being really good because he kept having the back-to-back Gaia Force, so having the back-to-back ways to refuel my resources is really good at dealing with removal options. And there we see me going for the Metal Garurumon. I don't have a 3rd Plesio in my hand, so I do have to kind of put a awkward Metal Garurumon down, but it doesn't end up biting me too bad in the butt, because really all I want is to punish this Metal Greymon if it swings and doesn't become like a Gallantmon or something. And I just want to make sure that I have a dude that can just become an Omnimon if I need to deal with his. And here we see him debating what he wants to do. I think the argument is like, do you evolve into Gallant, just give me 1, or do you evolve into like Volcanic to swing for 3 damage? Do you evolve into something else after attacking first to get the extra memory? He's only currently, I believe, 8k if he swings with this Metal Greymon, so he feels like a little less safe in attacking with it. All these things are factors that factor into your decision making when it comes to playing Red Gallantmon. Is if you swing, does your dude get to live, and does swing give you enough resources to actually make a big enough play to where it doesn't matter if you give your opponent like 8 or 10 memory afterwards on the crackback. So He debates a long time and he goes for the Volcanic Dramon play. This Volcanic Dramon, I believe, is 11,000 swinging for 3. Not the safest Volcanic Dramon in the world. I would have much preferred to have a 12,000 DP one, which happens quite a lot actually because you do play the starter tie, but 11 is still pretty big given the average DP of my deck. And here we see him declaring, we're just clarifying how many security checks is doing. I think we decided on 3. You'll see me like not do the third one because I forgot to do the third one. So I go first and second, 2 and 6. He would have lived if he just went with the Metal Greymon, but I think swinging here is fine, especially if you can top it off with an Omnimon or something. And you'll see me eventually go for the third one here. We both forgot, and then I remembered. I was like, oh wait, it's actually 3, and yep, there it is, the third one, under 6k, so more than safe again. So again, he either goes for the Gaia Force here, or he goes for Omni. That's really his best bet, because if he doesn't, I just swing Metal Garurumon into Volcanic and then pass, right? Both of which are like really fine. And there we see the third Gaia Force. I may have had 3 Zudomon in a row, but he had 3 Gaia Force in a row. So you know what? To each his own, the world is balanced. But I think finally I drew a champion. I think finally I drew a champion after seeing 25 cards. I think I finally drew a champion. So there we see me going for one. It's a Garurumon too. So if I have a Monze into I don't know, Metal Garu. Oh, speak of the devil and he appears. We can get ultra value here. We swing at that, bring that out, restand. I don't even need to go for Omnimon now. I can swing with this, bring out the Goma, get the wide board, and now look, just like that, I didn't attack a single time this entire game, even though I had 2 Megas and like I think an Omni come into play. Never attacked once, but now I'm threatening lethal potentially in the next turn with these 5 attacks on my board. You see how just being slow, understanding where your real advantage lies is such an important thing. He was checking all the threats that I had every single turn, but I had the responses. I had the ability to gain more advantage, etc., etc. And there we see me going for some Hammer Sparks. I want to do some evolving. I think I'm going to swing with this Gorilla here. The reason why I do this is because I want to isolate myself against any blockers he might play. And there we see me living, which is super big. I didn't want that Gorilla to live, it didn't have to, but the fact that it did is awesome. I also wanted to play around Volcanic because I knew I was going to play this Gabumon from hand. All these things were rolling through my brain when I was like, okay, I can win next turn, let's go. Also, I know he's out 3 Gaia Force too, so I'm pretty safe against his security from here on out, I'm pretty sure. That's another thing I thought about. Because I know this deck only plays like 6 or 7 ultimate Megas at most. Probably 6 if he's copying my exact kind of ratios for the list. And the whole time too, I was like hyping up this match because I'm like, I'm coming from a revenge, I'm coming from a revenge. And right now I feel like I've played this match pretty perfectly in terms of what he's had and what I've had. And in all honesty, I drew pretty awkward. Like if he had to like go for like if he just went for like hard play 2-drop pass, like I would have like the most awkward turns in the world only having ultimates and megas in my hand. So it definitely was kind of fortunate for me that he was going such like heavy memory gain, heavy like removal spell routes because I had the perfect answers given the unusual cards that I was drawing for this game. So it's definitely interesting to see like how your hands can shape up as a game goes throughout its kind of lifespan versus just what you initially think on opening turns. I've always preached that the opening turns don't really matter as much as the middle of the game in the Digimon TCG, and I still stand by that. And right now we're in like the middle of it right here, and I'm like these plays and the cards I had during these turns matter way more than like the first 2. And here we see him heavily debating what he's supposed to do here. I'm threatening lethal unless he can establish like 2 blockers here. He can't really protect himself. And there's one. So I think he's hoping for like his last Gaia Force and for me to like be a little not smart here in how I attack. But I think I'm going to do some smart attacking here. I swing with the Goma first to get the draw. And I want to bait the block so that way I can swing at it with something else and then still have lethal on board, I think is what I was going for. But I swing with this first just to see what the cards are. If at any point he reveals Gaia Force, I evolve into like Loader Lyo, I swing in his Cordra, and I pass my turn by playing a dude, and then that's it. I swing, and then I have 2 more attacks, and that's gonna be the end of the game. But here you see me evolving with the Loader Lyo. I don't know why I did this. There's no reason not to do it, but I don't know why I had to do it. And there you go, that's the GG. And again, I kind of just wanted to show you guys that game because in all honesty, like the best way I think to approach the red matchup playing Blue Omni is just to isolate yourself against all the powerful removal cards they have, because that's really the only edge red has over blue right now, is that its overall card quality is very strong. What do I mean by this? I mean that every individual card they can play does more than the average individual card in blue. It's not until you add all the cards together in blue that the cards become really powerful. I mean, red has like Volcanic, Gaia Force, Metal Greymon, Greymon with plus security, inheritable, all these fun things that just make their individual cards very strong. Plus, they have Gaia Force as well as Omni, while Blue only really has Omni because Gaia's Breath is not the same level of removal that Gaia Force is. So making sure that you realize, okay, their advantage is here. Let's play around it the best way possible. Let's not just sacrifice advantage. Let's wait until we have as much as possible and then capitalize on it and then use it to eventually win the game. And that's what I did right here. And hopefully that helps you in future red matchups you have moving forward. And boom, there you guys go. That'll go ahead and do it for my gameplay breakdown from this past weekend's LCS event. Huge shout out again to all my opponents as well as Luxury Gaming for hosting the event. Can't wait for the next one. If you guys did enjoy and want to see more videos like this of me breaking down various matchups that I have or various matchups that other tournaments have that you guys want me to watch, be sure to let me know down in the comments below, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more awesome Digimon content. But without further ado, I have been your true champion, Steven. Please be sure to work hard, rest easy, and live well. And I will see you all next time. Peace.